Alright, so Old Bardstown. This is the cheapest Willett product. This is about $25, by the way.
25, okay.
So on the nose,
Yeah,
you still get almost a Play-Doh note to it.
I totally get the Play-Doh. No sweet notes.
No sweet, a little bit of fruity, but not. Again, it's almost like a raisin or a cranberry.
I would say dried raisin or dried cranberry for sure. There's nothing fresh about this nose at all.
It is also worth noting that this has been open for a little while now.
Yeah. So this is
since January, beginning of January sometime.
Nah, that's still fine though. Like.
Well, yeah.
Especially
but
for
the Play-Doh note is so interesting. I've never had a whiskey come even close to that.
Yeah, Play-Doh is the best way to put it because it's dry, salty,
doughy.
Doughy.
Doughy, but like literal uncooked dough.
Yep. There's nothing sweet about it. There's nothing.
It almost. I've never described a smell as rubbery, but it almost has a rubbery smell to it.
Yeah, there's no standard
tinge at least.
There's no standard bourbon notes to this whatsoever.
Right. It's just dried berries and raisins and Play-Doh.
Yeah, you would smell it and you know it's a whiskey, but whether it was a bourbon or not, you probably couldn't tell just by the smell.
You wouldn't think it was like a Scotch or an Irish or anything like that, but you wouldn't pinpoint it as like a bourbon.
Yeah.
Even though it is.
It's out there.
Even though this becomes their bourbon. But let's give it let's give it a try.
So it's
a little tannic.
It's tannic, a little. It's definitely hot for the proof.
But again, you're talking the baseline too, so.
Yeah, we've been drinking all night, and we've been drinking from 95 proof up to
132.
132.
The Alberta Premium is 132.
Yeah, this is
almost the hottest. The Alberta Premium probably is the hottest just because that citrus has a bite to it.
It does. Yeah,
this has a different kind of heat. This has a heat of it's a young, cheap blend.
Yeah.
It's not like it's necessarily unpleasant. It's just not. It's nothing to write home about.
No, not. I agree.
It's like knowing the price. It's pretty decent.
It lines up.
It doesn't drink like a bottom shelf.
No,
it's solid in the 20 to 25 range. Like it doesn't scream that it's much more than that, but it also doesn't tell me that it's cheap.
Because relative to the $25 to $30 range of Elijah Craig, Buffalo Trace, trying to think of what else falls.
Yeah, this is on the tail end of it, so this would compare more to a Larceny.
Yeah, this is in line with Larceny, Jim Beam Double Oak.
This would be in line with Old Forester.
Yeah, it lines up well with those, where it's not terrible.
It's right on the high range of that, and right on the low range of the stuff that's slightly above it, if that makes sense.
It's at the top of the shit heap.
Right, which, isn't also necessarily bad. That is the qualities of a cheap daily sipper.
It's like Yingling. Yingling is top tier shit beer.
It's
good. It's not great, but it is good.
It gets the job done. It's not unpleasant.
Yes.
It's there and it works.
And
that's how this seems to feel. I'm just glad you don't get Play-Doh on the palate. You get it in the nose, which is so bizarre, but the palate actually is reminiscent of just a cheap bourbon.
Yeah, you get a little bit of the dough on the palate, but you don't get the Play-Doh.
You don't get it doesn't taste like Play-Doh. It just tastes almost like a sourdough. That's
sour bread dough. Yeah. It's decent. It does. It's within its price range, and
it's cheap. It does have a little bit of a bite on the finish as I'm letting it sit more. That is almost. I have a feeling this is a higher rye because I'm getting a little bit of I don't want to say dill because I know I always default to dill, but it almost gives me that kind of a taste. It's almost almost back to bay leaf or that kind of a.
I would say it's closer to bay leaf than it is the dill.
But it gives me that kind of spice. It's not. It's what did we try that was the bay leaf heavy one? The Balcones? Wasn't
Balcon? No, I mean we talked about it with Four Roses.
Yes, it was the Four Roses. It gives me those kinds of feelings where it might be a higher rye like Four Roses is.
Yeah.
But it's not overbearing, and at this proof, it's solidly smooth and light. It has a little bit of heat just because, again, it's cheap, it's younger.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, again, it's not phenomenal, but you're not paying for phenomenal either. You're getting what you pay for with this. It's really not bad at that price.
It's one of those whiskeys where you basically pick it as your lower decent end whiskey. Like for me personally, it's Jim Beam Double Oak. For someone else, it could be this. For someone else, it could be like
Evan Williams Bottle and Bond, or it could be Wild Turkey 101.
Yeah,
it could be regular Four Roses or Old Forester, depending on the flavor you get. This is just another subset of that.
It falls in line with those for sure, and it's just a matter of what is your taste prefer.
And if you like a little bit of rye bite, but also just mellow, but you don't want a wheater that has a little bit of the sweetness, I'd go with this.
I feel like this is one of those ones where, like, you pick a ton of little, like, mini bottles of, like, generic bourbons, taste them all, and pick your preferred one. Because, I mean, you can get Wild Turkey 101 in minis. You can get Elijah Craig.
You can get Larceny in other states. You can get Elijah Craig in other states.
Yeah, PA, fuck you, PA. You're too fucking difficult.
With the minis, agreed.
But
with certain things, it's phenomenal. As we've gone
with certain things, absolutely. But
good luck finding Weller fucking foolproof at $49.99 anywhere but PA. But also good luck getting it with a site that crashes. But you know, again, that you can't blame the state system for that. You can blame their IT department for that. They have a good process and good prices. It's just they need to refine their system.
Wait, they have an IT department? What?
Well, it's just T because they're blind to fucking IT.
I don't even think they have an IT department. I think they just have a group of people where they're like, figure out how to make this fucking work. What? That being said, anybody who works for, FWGS having to deal with that, if you don't have an IT background, I don't blame you. It's not your fault.
They hired you.
But the site is shit. It's not your fault. I don't blame you because they didn't actually hire an IT department.
I do wish we had this as another cheap option, because this is one that fills a niche for that cheap daily sipper. Like for you, it's Jim Beam Double Oak.
Yep.
For me, it's Larceny, or Weller SR if you can find it at a reasonable price.
If you can find it.
If you could get it at Ohio prices, it's right in this ballpark, 22. And at that point, it would be my favorite of that.
The issue is, even at Ohio prices, that shit sells out the first day.
Mm-hmm.
Which, by all means, that's great. But for me personally, Weller Special Reserve, it's a mixing whiskey.
I can sip on it, but that's also because my palate, while it is refined to like a lot of certain things, it's tolerant. It's more tolerant of a lot of other things too.
I treat it as it's a sipping whiskey if I can't get another sipping whiskey because I'm broke at that point,
Yeah.
or
I could go with that. That's fair.
Or like there's no other sipping whiskeys as an or like low tier sipping whiskeys as an option. However,
if you go to a bar and Weller SR is the best they got and it's the price that it should be given the MSRP, then it's what you go with if there's nothing else good.
I agree with that.
It's not like it's bad. And this is just like that. It's not like it's bad. It's just got to be your taste for a cheap whiskey.
Yeah, it's low tier, but it works.
It's low tier, but it fits in with the other low tier stuff really well.
Yes.
And again, you get what you pay for the price. It's good, but that's the key phrase, for the price. I mean, I would keep it around for when I'm in a mood for it as a cheap daily sipper, but I've gotten to a point where my daily sippers are a little more expensive than $20 too. So
for you, yeah. For me, for 90 proof, it's a little too hot for me to say that I think I would get a bottle. I don't know if I would get a bottle of this.
Right, this is a little bit more my taste, but again, my taste is also a lot more all over the place than yours.
That's true. Like,
We have proven that I've liked a lot of stuff you haven't, while also liking all the stuff you have.
Yes.
I buy the experimental shit, and I like it a lot more than you do.
Mm-hmm.
But
I'll admit, I'm picky.
And keep in mind too, I got this for free. For free, this is a great bottle.
Oh no! If someone gave me this for free, I wouldn't complain whatsoever.
I would drink the whole thing, and I inevitably eventually will.
Yeah.
Like, it's there. It does what it needs to do.
Exactly.